Today we're going to make a fat ball feeder. It can also become a nesting station, which I'll show you at the end. I've got a cardboard box, a pair of secateurs, pen or a pencil, a ruler, something small and round that I can draw around, and some willow that I will be able to use in the making of the fat ball. There's some string as well if you want it for the handle. So first of all, I've got an old pot that's about the size that I want. I'm going to use a pen to draw a circle around. There we go. And then I'm just going to use a ruler. I don't have to be totally accurate with this one. I'm just going to draw across. If you want to be really accurate, you can use a protractor. I don't think I really need it for this. And then I'm just going to make some little marks so that I know I'm pushing the willow through. Where I don't think the lines have been totally accurate that I've drawn, I can then with my eye just move the dots slightly as to where the willow is going to go through. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I've got 16 marks. So I need 16 willow rods. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Just going to get them together at the tip. The more time I spend making everything as similar to each other as possible, the better results I'll get. So I'm just getting them all together so that they're the same length at the tip, which means they're all the same thickness, because I've already pre-selected these willow rods. They're all quite similar to each other. Like so. And then I'm just going to turn it over to the other side. You can see now that the thick end, the butt end, they're slightly different lengths to each other. So I'm just going to cut these to points. I'm then going to use my knitting needle. So you can use anything, just something pointy. Just to go around where I put the holes. It'll make it easier to push the willow rods in. I'm then going to take each of my rods and just put them through the holes that I've created. So take your time, there's no rush. Even if you've got rods that are a bit wonky, we'll sort that out when we're weaving. So don't worry too much at the moment about them not being exactly even to each other. We can sort that out when we weave. Okay, final rod. And so that they're all going upwards and they're not all going out at different directions, I'm just going to use a little bit of string just to tie them. The lower down you do the string, the more tension it'll have and the harder it'll be to weave. The higher up you have your string, the less support they've got. So there's a happy point where you've got support, but it's not too difficult to weave. So I think about there. And I'm going to do a bow or a half bow because that's the quickest way just to undo it. Okay, so now they're in. Again, I'm not too concerned at the moment. That one's coming in, that one's coming out. I'll set them straight with the weaving. So move everything out of the way that I don't need. My rods are going to be coming out in this direction because I'm right-handed, and that's the easiest way for me to weave. So I'll just make sure that there's not obstacles in the way here to my right. Okay, so I'm choosing a couple of rods. I tapped the Willow down on the table and chose 2 rods that are pretty much the same as each other. I'm going to do a weave called a pairing weave, which is working with 2 rods at the same time, but they're not just weaving side by side, they're interlocking each other. A pairing weave is a locking weave. So each time one of the weavers does one weave, it only does one weave and then it stops, and then the other weaver does one weave and stops. And each time they do it, they lock each other in place. So one will take turns to be on top, and then when the next rod weaves, that will be on top. And it creates like a figure of 8 pattern, which means that these 2 weavers are interlocked. It makes it a very strong weave because we can set the stakes where we want them to be. So I'm going to start with the tips, so it's easy to start. You can theoretically start with a thick end, with the butt end, but that would be really difficult, so we're not doing that. I've chosen any stake, it doesn't matter which one because we're working on a circle, and one of my weavers has gone on the inside of it and the other weaver is on the outside of it. It's the weaver that's on the outside that's going to do the first weave. So it's going to go behind the next rod and then just back out again. So now that weaver's done its weave, it's done. So it's the other weaver. And it will be the left-hand weaver of the 2. It'll be on the outside of the structure. It'll be on the outside of the stake that it's next to. And it will be the left of the 2, or you could say it's number 1. This is number 1, that's number 2. Before I start doing the weave, it's also underneath the other weaver, so I can't lift it up at that point. So I'm just going to use my finger to hold them down. It's just going to do one weave. So it goes on top of the right-hand weaver, just behind one stake, and then back out, and it's done. So now it's the left-hand one again, or number 1. It's going to go in the gap where number 2 is coming out, so it sits on top of number 2. It just goes behind one stake and it comes back out. So they're always, wherever they are around the structure, they're against one stake. One will be on the outside of it and one will be on the inside of it. And it's always the one that's on the outside. It should be the further back of the 2. So it should be the left one of the 2. It always has to go in on top of the right-hand one, and it has to come out the next gap. And then that gives you that lovely figure of 8 pattern. So keep turning your structure around as you go, because it makes it easier to see what you're doing. You might have noticed as well, I'm not going to the thick end, the butt end, and weaving that in, because that's actually really quite cumbersome. It's difficult to get good results. I'm just working with this part of the willow, I'm guiding it. So I'm holding it down where I've woven, and I'm just guiding the willow through, like that. I'm going to keep turning my frame around. If I've got rods that aren't creating a nice curve, a nice circle, as I do my weave, I'll just push them into the position I want them to be in. and the weave will hold them in that position. As my weavers start to get thicker, it might feel a little bit more difficult to weave, but we can break that movement down more. So I'll show you that in a second. So we're just weaving around this circle. I'm almost back at the beginning. Once we've reached the beginning, you just carry on. It weaves on top of the weave underneath. So you don't stop once you've done one round, you carry on going. As my material's getting thicker, if it's hard to control, I can tell the material and then do the weave. So by telling it, I mean, Willow particularly really likes to know what you're doing with it. It loves to be woven, but it's a very strong material. So if I take the effort to tell it, so just that movement there means it now has a kink against the stake. It's got lots of give and I'm not fighting it. So I can do that, which makes it really easy to work with. So again, I'm telling it, doing my next weave. Keeping your hand or a finger where you've already woven is also really important, because it means when I tell the willow, the kink's in the right place. If I let the willow drift up, if I'm not being really controlled with where I'm weaving, if I push it down from this point, it's now not quite flush against the stake here. So making sure that you keep the weave where you've already woven really low and then telling it means that the kink's in the place where you want it to be, not somewhere else. I'm going to keep moving around. I'm setting my stakes where I want them to be. If they feel a little bit close together, I can move them with the weave. And you can just go nice and slow while you're doing this. You don't have to go fast. One of the really nice things about weaving is it's a slow process. So just enjoy that and get used to it. You'll naturally speed up the more you do. But that's not the point of weaving. So you really don't have to be fast. It's a general rule while you're weaving that the material that you're weaving with needs to be thinner than the stake material. But actually it needs to be weaker. So there are some willow varieties that are stronger than others, and sometimes you can get away with using slightly thicker weaving material because it won't be as strong as the stakes. But the more you weave, the more you get used to that. So at this point, to weave here, this is pulling this right out, can you see? So one of the things I can do, I've already made sure that the weave's as low as it can be, and I've told it. It's still pulling this stake right out. Any movement we want to be in the weave is not the stakes. So what I can do is, as it's coming down, I can deliberately kink it on the back, and then the stake's not being put under as much pressure. So again, I can do the same with that one. If you feel like you can't control the stakes anymore, or you can't control the weavers because they're just getting too thick, then you can stop at that point. I'm going to stop here. I'm just going to trim these down a little bit. And I'm going to get 2 new weavers. Again, I'm going to try and choose 2. I've already pre-selected them, so they are very similar. But I'm going to try and get them as similar as possible. So I'm going to go for these 2. Getting them together at the tip. Yeah, they're pretty much the same at the butt. So when you do a changeover on a locking weave, like a pairing weave, we have to replace like for like. So I've just ended on butts. I've ended on the thick material. I wouldn't replace the butts with a tip. A, you'd see it and it won't look very nice. But B, more importantly, I would be going from a really strong material to a really weak material. It just won't make a good join. It'll be a really weak join and it'll be difficult to control. So you replace like for like. If I end on butts, I replace with butts. If I end on tips, I would replace with tips. But that isn't the same for all weaves, but for this weave, that's generally what you do. So the rod that I would work with next is the left one of the 2. So it's this weaver that I need to replace. I'm just going to pull it to the side and I'm going to put its replacement next to it in the same gap, but importantly just in front of the old one. I'm going to hold everything down. I'm going to tell the material, particularly at this point, because this is the strongest part of the willow, so important to tell it. And then I'm just going to bring it down, and I've done the next weave. Now that I've done that, I can replace the next one, because this is now the left rod of the two, or this is number one, that's number two. So I'm going to pull it to the side. I'm going to put this new weaver just in front of it, but in between the same two stakes. And also, really importantly, when you're changing a locking weave, the other weaver is on top of it. You'd never add it so that this was on top, because as soon as you start weaving, nothing's holding it. It's just going to move around. So it has to go under the other weaver. And then pushing everything as low as I can. I'm telling the weaver again so that it knows what it's doing. And I'm just carefully, slowly going down so that my stakes are always nice and straight. There's no kinks in the stake. While my material that I'm weaving with is still quite thick, I'm just taking the time to set things properly as I go along. So again, just go slow. There's no rush. You can see now where I've done the join. If it's not as neat as it could be, as I weave over the top, I'll really push them down. It's much easier to get the wood to work against the wood than to use the strength of your fingers to try and push it down. Even though these are really thin, it's a lot stronger than our fingers. So it's starting to feel easier to weave again because the rod's getting thinner. I'm going to just really push down now where I did the join, and also just make sure it's circular. And making sure that my stakes are evenly spaced as I weave.